Welcome back to the deep dive. Have you ever found yourself standing in a hobby shop just staring at this huge wall of RC batteries
Oh, yeah.
and feeling completely overwhelmed? You see all these terms, 2S, SMA, C rating. It's like an alphabet soup.
It really is. It's a lot to take in, especially at first.
Yeah, I think many of us have been there.
Mm.
It feels a bit like being handed the keys to some high-performance car and told, okay, pick the right fuel, but you barely know what octane even means.
Uh,
And if you get it wrong, you're looking at anything from a really sluggish run that just fizzles out way too fast to, well,
to something much more dramatic.
exactly, a potential thermal event, as they say.
Yeah.
The sheer number of choices, all the technical jargon, and sometimes, the totally conflicting advice you find online. It can make what should be exciting feel kind of impossible.
And that's precisely why we're diving in today. Our mission here is to just cut straight through all that confusion. We've gathered a whole stack of sources, articles, research papers, videos, forum threads, you name it, and we're going to distill the really important, actionable stuff about RC LiPo batteries.
Good.
We're going to demystify all those terms you just mentioned, 2S, MAA, C rating, so that by the end of this, you'll not only get what they mean, but more importantly, you'll feel, confident, empowered to make the right choice for your RC adventures.
That's the goal.
Because honestly, the world of RC batteries, especially lithium polymer or LiPo, it's seen this incredible technological revolution over the last, say, decade and a half.
It really has.
It's super exciting. More power, longer run times than ever. But for newcomers, or even folks upgrading from older tech, you can feel like trying to navigate a maze blindfolded.
Yep.
We want to hand you the map and the compass today.
Okay, let's start at the foundation then. The basic choice many people face first. The main types of rechargeable batteries you see in electric RC today. Now, there are other kinds out there.
Yeah, a few niche ones.
Right, but to get you up to speed quickly, we're really going to focus on the two big players, nickel metal hydride NiMH and lithium polymer, which everyone just calls LiPo.
The main contenders.
Exactly. And for a long time, NiMH was the standard, right? The go-to for electric RC. You still see a lot of ready-to-run kits, especially entry-level ones, bundled with a NiMH pack.
Absolutely. Often a 6-cell pack.
Yeah, typically that 6-cell NiMH giving you, 7.2 volts total, with each cell being 1.2 volts.
That's right. And what's really interesting when you compare them is just how different they are fundamentally. Each has its own quirks, its strengths, its weaknesses.
So let's break down NiMH first.
Okay, so NiMH, as you said, 1.2 volts per cell typically. A 6-cell pack gives you that 7.2 volts nominal, but it's worth knowing when it's fully charged right off the charger, that 6-cell pack might actually read closer to 9 or even 10 volts.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Temporarily higher.
Exactly, just temporary.
Yeah.
It drops pretty quick under load. Now, charging NiMH is unique too. The charger looks for a peak voltage, and then kind of counterintuitively, it actually detects a slight drop in voltage after the peak.
A drop.
Yeah, that's the delta peak detection. That tells the charger it's full. And they tend to get noticeably warm when charging, which is, a decent informal sign they're getting full.
Right, I remember that warm feeling.
And how they discharge is pretty linear. The voltage drops kind of steadily throughout the run, so you feel this gradual decrease in power and speed. Predictable, but lacks a certain punch.
Okay, so predictable, maybe a bit less exciting power curve, but what are the upsides? Why did people use them for so long?
Well, they definitely have their merits, especially for beginners or certain applications. First, lifespan. They generally last longer, often rated for 500-plus charge cycles. That's a lot of runs.
Wow, 500 plus. That's significant.
It is. Second, they're way less sensitive to mishandling than LiPos. If you accidentally over-discharge them a bit, or, forget and leave them fully charged for a week, they're much more forgiving.
Okay, more robust in that sense.
Definitely. And crucially, safety. They don't pose the same fire risk if they get damaged or really mistreated. They might get hot, vent maybe, but generally won't burst into flames like a compromised LiPo can.
That's a big plus for peace of mind.
Huge. Plus, simpler charging, simpler storage, just less stress overall. But there are always cons. They're heavier for the energy they hold.
Right, weight is always a factor in RC.
Always. And they're limited in shape and size, usually those rigid packs of cylindrical cells. Capacity is lower for their size compared to LiPo, so shorter run times. And the big one, lower discharge rates. That's where the punch comes in. NiMH just doesn't deliver that instant hard acceleration. Feels softer.
Okay, so heavier, less capacity, less punch. That sets the stage perfectly for LiPo. It really feels like LiPo just took over the hobby almost overnight. What was it, beyond just the eventual price drop, that made enthusiasts ditch NiMH so quickly?
That's a great question. Price definitely helped make them accessible, absolutely. But the shift was really driven by a fundamental leap in performance that LiPo offered. It wasn't just a small step up, it was like a different league.
So what are the core characteristics?
Okay, LiPo. Higher voltage per cell is key. Nominal 3.7 volts, but they charge up to 4.2 volts per cell, fully charged.
So more volts in each little package.
Exactly. Higher energy density,
Mm-hmm.
which means you need fewer cells for the same total voltage.
Mm-hmm.
So a 2S LiPo that's 2 cells in series gives you 7.4 volts nominal, but 8.4 volts fully charged. 2 cells doing the work of essentially 7 NiMH cells voltage-wise.
Wow, okay. More power, less space, less weight potential.
Precisely. And the charging is different too. It's constant current, then constant voltage. The voltage climbs fast, hits that 4.2 V per cell peak quickly, maybe in 10-20 minutes. Then the charger holds that voltage and tapers the current down to top off the capacity. Adds runtime.
Got it. And the discharge, you said NiMH was linear?
LiPo is much flatter. The voltage stays relatively high and stable through most of the discharge cycle, meaning more consistent, strong power delivery from start to nearly finish. You don't feel that gradual fading nearly as much. The power feels strong, punchy, right up until the end when the voltage drops off sharply and the ESC's low voltage cutoff kicks in to protect the battery.
Okay, so that flat curve means consistent power. That sounds like a huge performance advantage.
It is, and that leads into the pros. Much lighter for the same capacity, huge impact on power to weight. They can be made in almost any shape or size, flat packs, short packs, you name it. Way more design flexibility.
Right, you see them tucked into all sorts of chassis now.
Exactly. Higher capacities mean longer run times in the same space, and critically, much higher discharge rates. That's where the real magic happens at explosive punch, the raw power for acceleration and speed.
Okay, lighter, more shapes, more capacity, more punch. Sounds almost too good to be true. What's the catch? There's always a catch.
There is, and it's a big one that demands respect.
Yeah.
The cons. First, lifespan is generally shorter, maybe 100 to 300 cycles typically, before performance really starts to drop off, much less than NiMH's 500-plus cap.
Okay, shorter life. What else?
The sensitive chemistry. This is the crucial point. If a LiPo cell gets punctured or severely damaged in a crash, there's a very high chance it will catch fire. It's called thermal runaway. An internal short happens, the chemicals react uncontrollably, it puffs up, vents flammable gas, and then whoosh, intense fire.
That's the scary part you hear about.
It is. It means they need special care. Diligent care for charging, discharging, storage, handling. You can't just toss them around. Now, it's important to add context here. While the horror stories exist, LiPo fires are actually very rare when the batteries are treated properly.
Okay, so proper care is key.
Absolutely. The risk shoots way up if they're physically damaged, like in a hard crash, or badly mishandled, or charged incorrectly.
So summing it up, LiPo offers undeniable performance gains, power, runtime, weight. They're the clear choice for most modern RC applications, but
they come with homework.
Yeah.
You have to understand the risks and handle them responsibly, do that, and the benefits are huge.
All right, so we understand the why behind LiPo's dominance. Now let's get practical. How do you actually choose the right LiPo for your specific car or truck? This isn't just grabbing one off the shelf.
Exactly. This is where we move from theory to actually getting it right and avoiding those common frustrations. And honestly, this process is where a lot of folks, especially newcomers, stumble.
So what's step one?
Step 1. Consult the manual. Seriously. I cannot emphasize this enough. It sounds basic, but it's so often overlooked.
People just skip it.
All the time. But almost every RC manual has a battery section. It's your baseline. It tells you critical stuff straight from the manufacturer. It'll specify the required cell rating, like does your crawler need a 2S or 3S? Can your buggy handle 6S?
Okay, so voltage first.
Voltage, yes. And crucially, the minimum C rating needed. You'll almost always see a minimum discharge rate specified, often 30C, or maybe even higher for powerful vehicles.
Right. So the manual gives you two key numbers right away.
Instantly. Voltage and minimum C rating. Start there. Prevents a lot of headaches.
Okay, manual consulted. What's next?
Step 2. Measure the battery tray. This is, hands down, the #1 way people screw up buying batteries online.
They buy one that doesn't fit.
Yep. They find a great deal, click buy, wait eagerly, and it arrives and it's too tall, too long, or too wide for the compartment. Major bummer.
Right. So get the vehicle, open it up.
And measure. Get the
Yeah.
internal height, length, and width of that tray. Write those numbers down. If you have a specific car, say a low CDD Pro, measure its tray precisely.
Good tip. Makes sense.
And an even better tip,
Yeah.
if you have a local hobby shop, take your vehicle with you when you go battery shopping.
Ah, physical confirmation.
Exactly.
Huh.
Test fit it right there before you buy. Saves a ton of hassle.
Smart. Okay, measured the tray. Step 3.
Step 3. Identify the battery plug type. While you've got the vehicle open, look at the connector coming off your ESC, the electronic speed controller.
Right, the plug that connects the battery to the car's electronics.
Yep. And there are loads of different types. XT90, XT60, Traxxas plugs, EC5, Deans, a whole variety.
So find a battery with the same plug.
That's the easiest way, for sure. Plug and play. However, and this is a really useful skill in RC, learning to solder and change plugs is fundamental.
Soldering. Sounds intimidating.
It seems like it, but it's actually much easier than you'd think. Basic soldering iron, some heat shrink tubing, and it opens up so many options. You can buy batteries that are cheaper because they don't have your specific plug and just swap it out yourself. Saves money, gives you way more choice. It's empowering.
Okay, a skill worth learning. Got it. Next.
Step 4. Determine your desired power level voltage. Now, this is more strategic than just matching the max rating from the manual.
Oh, so.
Just because your truck, say, is rated for 6S LiPo doesn't mean you have to run 6S immediately. You might choose to start with 4S or even 3S.
Why would you do that? Run less voltage?
Well, think about modern, powerful trucks.
Yep.
Traxxas X-Max, Arma 3S line, Sledge, Creighton. Many of these can run incredibly well and be a ton of fun on lower voltages like 2S, 3S, or 4S, even if they can handle 6S.
Okay.
Lower voltage generally means lower top speed. Lower speed means less damaging crashes, less kinetic energy involved.
So fewer broken parts, cheaper repairs.
Exactly. It can save you a lot of money on replacements, especially when you're learning. Plus, most modern RC controllers have throttle limiters.
Right. You can dial back the power.
Yep. So you could buy that 6S battery, but just limit the throttle to 50% or 75% until you're comfortable with the full power. It gives you a growth path. You can ease into it.
That avoids the common mistake.
The pitfall of stepping up to too high a voltage too early. People get overwhelmed, crash constantly, break stuff, and get frustrated. Choosing the right starting voltage for your skill level is key.
Makes perfect sense. Okay, step 5.
Step 5. Research availability and match metrics. Now you've got your numbers. Voltage, minimum C rating, tray dimensions, plug preference, time to shop.
Local store, online retailers.
Yep. Hobby shops, places like AMEA, Hobbies, Horizon Hobby, even general sites like Amazon sometimes. Start searching using your known specs, like X-Max, battery 4S, LiPo XT90.
Be specific.
Very specific. Then, as you compare options, focus on a few key things. C ratings. Generally, get the highest C rating you can comfortably afford. We'll dive into why later, but higher is usually better here.
Okay, highest C rating possible. What else?
Milliamp hour, MAR rating, and double-check those physical dimensions against your measurements. For bashers folks just driving hard, jumping, having fun, you often want the biggest battery, AMA-wise, that physically fits.
Biggest capacity for longest runtime.
Right. But it's also a cost-benefit thing. Is a slightly smaller mAh battery drastically cheaper? Could you maybe buy 2 5,000 milliliter packs for the price of one huge 8,000 milliliter pack and get more total runtime by swapping?
Ah, strategic thinking there too.
Always think about value and how you'll actually use it.
Okay, final step. Step 6.
Step 6. Preparation for use sand days. Plugs and charging. You bought the battery. Now what? First, if needed, swap the plug. That soldering skill we talked about.
Right.
Second, and this is absolutely critical, charging. Properly charging a LiPo. This can be pretty daunting for people the first time.
Yeah, it seems more involved than just plugging in a fan.
Way more involved.
Yeah.
And crucial for safety and battery life. We'll cover the exact procedures for safe charging and care in detail later on. It's non-negotiable knowledge.
Okay, got it. So manual, measure, plug, voltage choice, research, and then prep for use. It sounds logical laid out like that.
It is logical.
But wow, missing just one piece, like forgetting to measure that tray.
Instant frustration. Exactly. It really highlights how interconnected it all is. Precision matters in this hobby.
Okay, so we've walked through the steps. Now let's really zoom in on those core metrics we keep mentioning. Voltage, capacity, MAR, and C rating. You said these are the 3 key factors. We need to go deeper to truly understand them.
Absolutely. Getting these right or wrong has huge implications for performance, fun, and the health of your expensive electronics. Let's break them down.
All right, start with voltage or cell count.
A voltage, cell count. Okay, we touched on this. Each LiPo cell, 3.7 V nominal, 4.2 V fully charged. A 2S pack means 2 cells in series, 7.4 V nominal, 8.4 V charged. 3S is 3 cells, 11.1 V nominal, 12.6 V charged, and so on. Simple multiplication.
And the impact.
Direct impact on speed.
Yeah.
Higher voltage equals higher RPMs from the motor equals a faster vehicle. Simple as that. More volts, more speed.
But there's always a but with voltage.
A huge but. Compatibility with your ESC, the electronic speed controller, is critical. This is where people really get into trouble.
How so?
Overvolting. If your ESC is rated for, say, a maximum of 2S LiPo and you plug in a 3S pack,
Poof.
pretty much, you will almost certainly burn out or fry that ESC instantly sometimes. The components inside just can't handle the extra voltage. They overheat catastrophically. It's like connecting a 120V appliance to a 240V outlet. Bad news.
So rule number 1, never exceed the ESC's voltage rating. Ever.
Never. It's the fastest way to kill it. Now, what about the motor? Voltage doesn't directly fry the motor quite like the ESC, but indirectly, it can kill it through heat. Running too high a voltage makes the motor draw excessive current, which generates a ton of heat. And heat is the enemy of motors.
Right. Heat degrades magnets, melts windings.
Exactly. Overheat a motor enough times, its magnets lose strength permanently, it loses power, becomes inefficient, and eventually fails. So voltage is the main killer of ESCs if you exceed the rating, and it indirectly kills motors via heat. Got to respect the voltage limits.
Crystal clear. Okay, next metric, B capacity. Milliamp hours, mAh.
mAh. This is basically the battery's fuel tank, how much energy it can store.
Yeah.
1,000 mAh equals 1 amp hour.
And the impact here is mainly runtime, right?
Primarily, yes. Higher mAh means longer runtime. A 5,500 mAh pack will let you drive significantly longer than, say, a 1,000 mAh pack, assuming all else is equal. More fuel, more driving.
Seems simple enough. Any downsides to just getting the biggest mAh possible?
There's a trade-off. Size and weight. More capacity physically requires more battery material, so higher mAh batteries are bigger and heavier.
Affecting handling and center of gravity.
Precisely. Especially critical in RC flight or competitive crawling.
Yeah.
Adding weight high up, or just adding weight period, changes how the vehicle behaves. You might gain runtime, but lose nimbleness or stability.
Okay, makes sense. Now, you mentioned something earlier about ESC health and capacity. This sounds important.
Yes, this is a huge aha moment for many people and busts a common myth. The myth is that putting a larger capacity battery, like 5,200 mAh instead of 3,000 mAh, but same voltage, will somehow damage the motor or ESC.
People think it's too much power.
Yeah, they think it's forcing too much energy. But that's wrong. A larger capacity battery at the correct voltage will not harm your components. It just provides more runtime. Your ESC and motor only draw the current they need.
Okay, so bigger mAh, same voltage is fine, just gives longer runs.
Exactly. However, and this is the critical part, using a battery with too small a capacity can actually cause problems, especially for the ESC.
How? That seems counterintuitive.
Think of our analogy, a Ferrari fuel pump. ESC, trying to power a thirsty motor, but connected to a mini fuel tank battery. The motor demands a lot of current, but the small capacity battery struggles to supply it quickly enough. Its voltage sags under load, and the ESC has to work incredibly hard, drawing even more amps to try and compensate.
Forcing the ESC to overheat.
Precisely. The ESC strains, overheats, and can potentially go kaboom, or just fail prematurely, because it's constantly being starved for current and working too hard. This is why some manuals for powerful vehicles, like those 6S Armas, specify a minimum mAh, often 5,000 mAh. They need that larger fuel tank to keep the ESC happy and cool.
Wow. Okay, so too small a capacity can actually damage the ESC. That's a crucial takeaway.
It really is. For most RC cars, especially bashers, that 4,000 to 5,500 mAh range is often considered the sweet spot. Good runtime, usually enough capacity to keep the ESC supplied. Below 4,000 mAh, you might be swapping packs constantly and potentially stressing your electronics if the C rating isn't also high enough.
Which brings us perfectly to the third key metric, C discharge rate, C rating. Probably the most confusing one for many.
Definitely the most misunderstood, but maybe the most important after getting the voltage right. The C rating tells you how fast the battery can be discharged without actually harming the battery. It's the maximum continuous current amps it can safely deliver.
Okay, maximum current output. How do you figure that out from the numbers?
Simple calculation. Take the capacity in amp hours, so divide them all by 1,000, and multiply it by the C rating. Example, a 500 millimeter bill battery is 5.5 Ah if it's rated at 50 C.
5.5 times 50, 275 amps.
Exactly. 275 amps of continuous discharge capability. That's a theoretical maximum, but it shows the potential.
Okay, big number. How does that translate to actual performance on the track or trail?
It has a massive impact, mainly through maintaining voltage under load.
Maintaining voltage. Explain that.
Every battery has some internal resistance. Tiny amount, but it's there. When current flows, this resistance causes the battery's voltage to drop slightly and generates heat inside the battery. A higher C rating essentially means lower internal resistance.
Like a wider pipe for the electricity.
Perfect analogy. Less restriction. So when your motor demands a lot of current, like hard acceleration, a high C-rated battery will experience less voltage drop, or sag, compared to a low C-rated one.
And since voltage equals speed.
Exactly. Less voltage sag means the motor receives higher, more consistent voltage, so a 100 C-pack might only drop to 13.5 V under load, while a 50 C-pack might drop to 10 V under the same load. That difference means more punch, better acceleration, higher top speed with a higher C-rated pack.
Okay, so higher C means less voltage sag, which means more speed and punch. Makes sense. Why else is higher C better? You mentioned protecting components earlier.
Yes. Back to the Ferrari fuel pipe analogy. Low C rating is like a tiny fuel line. High C rating is a nice wide pipe. If your powerful ESC, fuel pump, tries to draw a lot of current through that tiny pipe, low C rating battery, it has to work way too hard, spin too fast, and it overheats.
So the low C rating starves the ESC, making it overheat just like too low capacity could.
Precisely. A high C rating ensures the battery can easily supply all the current the ESC wants without restriction. This prevents the ESC from straining and overheating. So paradoxically, a higher C rating battery can actually help keep your ESC cooler and healthier. This is why those Arma manuals recommend high C packs. The electronics need that unrestricted current flow.
That's another huge takeaway. Higher C rating isn't just for performance. It can actually protect your ESC.
Absolutely. You might also see a burst C rating mentioned. Yeah, sometimes two numbers are listed: continuous C rating and a higher burst rating. That burst number indicates the battery can handle even higher current draw for very short periods, like a fraction of a second, for initial acceleration or landing a jump. Continuous is the more important number day to day.
Got it. So minimum C rating from the manual is a must not go below number.
Hard minimum. But you can always go up in C rating.
No problem going higher.
No problem at all.
Yeah.
Only benefits, assuming it fits and is within budget. For average cars, 20-30C might be okay, but for anything powerful, or if you want max performance and ESC protection, 50C, 70C, 100C, definitely the way to go.
Wow. Okay, that really clarifies those three metrics. Voltage is speed, but must match the ESC limit. Capacity is runtime, and too little can starve the ESC. C rating is current delivery, impacts punch speed via voltage stability, and higher is better for performance and protecting the ESC.
You nailed it. Understanding that interplay is key to making smart choices. It's not just about the numbers. It's about how they work together in your specific vehicle.
So now that we've properly dissected voltage, capacity, and C rating, let's connect this back to the real world. How does your specific RC activity, crawling versus racing versus bashing, influence the ideal battery choice using these metrics?
Great question. Because the demands are vastly different. What's perfect for one style can be completely wrong for another.
Let's start with, say, competition crawling. Very technical, precise stuff.
Competition crawling, right. Here, the goals are maximum capability, ultimate control, and minimal weight. Courses are tight, technical, often with time limits like 5-7 minutes for 10 gates.
So weight is paramount.
Absolutely. Competitors use tiny, super light packs. We're talking 500 to maybe 1,300 millispray typically.
That's small. Why?
Several reasons. Lower weight helps the rig hook up on rocks better, improves agility, and crucially lowers the center of gravity for better stability on steep angles. You don't need hours of runtime for a 7-minute course.
Makes sense. What about C rating and voltage?
Voltage is almost always 3S or 4S LiPo for the torque and wheel speed control needed. And C rating needs to be HIGH, 50C, 65C, even higher sometimes.
Why so high for slow crawling?
To prevent browning out. When the rig is bound up or trying to rock itself off an obstacle, the motor draws huge current spikes. A low C pack would sag voltage dramatically, causing loss of power or even radio glitches. High C provides that instant, stable power surge when needed most.
Got it. Okay, what about more casual trail running or fun running? Longer runs, less intense pressure?
Trail running, fun running. Yeah. This is about enjoying the journey, often for hours. Maybe G6 style events with 100+ gates, or just exploring. Two main battery philosophies here. First is the smaller, lighter approach. Leveraging new tech that packs more aero into smaller sizes. People run packs maybe 2,200 to 3,500 mils.
Still relatively small. Why?
Keeps the rig light, agile, Lowers the center of gravity, makes it less likely to break in tumbles, more capable overall. The strategy is just to carry 2 or 3 packs and swap them on the trail.
How long would those last?
Depends on the motor. A 3500 milliamp 3S3 on a basic brush motor might get you 1.5 hours. A 2200 milliamp, maybe an hour. If you go brushless, like a 3500 kilowatts motor, runtime drops maybe 45 minutes on the 3500 milliamp, but you get way more power.
And C rating for these trail packs?
Minimum 30-35C is good. 20C might technically work, but isn't really common or recommended anymore for responsiveness.
Okay, that's the light approach. What's the other one?
The larger capacity approach. This is for people who just want maximum runtime on a single charge and don't care as much about ultimate crawling performance or low CG. They'll cram in the biggest pack that fits, maybe 3,800 to 5,000 milliamps or even more.
Just run and run.
Exactly. Convenient for long, uninterrupted sessions. But the trade-off is significant weight. These packs can be 3 times heavier than the smaller ones.
And that affects handling.
Big time. Shifts the CG way up and forward. Might help slightly on straight uphill climbs by weighting the front, but generally makes the rig tippier, less nimble, and puts more strain on everything.
And C rating for these big packs?
Often lower C ratings are fine, maybe 20C, though 30-35C is still common. Sustained punch isn't the main goal. Endurance is.
Okay, 2 distinct trail strategies. Now, what about the opposite end of the spectrum, rock racing or U4 style? High speed, big jumps.
Rock racing U4 style. Totally different game. Speed is key, 20-30 mile per hour usually. Short, intense races, maybe 5-7 minutes. You need serious punch.
So big batteries required here.
Yes. Big packs are needed for both runtime and massive power delivery. These things run incredibly power-hungry brushless systems. Motors like a Holler Pro XL can demand 120, 180 amps, or even more in bursts.
Whoa, that's a lot of current.
It is. Voltage is typically 4S LiPo for that speed and control, and C ratings. Absolutely essential to be high.
How high?
For maybe a 3,800 milliamp pack, you'd want at least 65C for that instant punch. For larger 5,000 milliamp packs, maybe 50C is enough because the capacity helps deliver current. A 70C peak discharge 5A pack that's described in sources as a whole lot of amps ensures you have power on tap.
So it's not just the discipline, but even within racing, things like weight, gearing, motor choice, track layout, they all fine-tune the perfect battery.
Exactly. Rock racing especially requires a lot of personal experimentation to find that optimal balance for your specific setup and driving style. What works for one racer might not work for another.
That really drives home how tailored the choice needs to be. It's not one size fits all. It makes you think, okay, for my next run, am I prioritizing runtime, sheer punch, or keeping the weight down for handling? Different goals, different batteries.
Precisely. Understanding your priorities is key.
Okay, so we've picked the battery, we understand the specs, we've matched it to our activity, but that's only part of the story, right? LiPos demand respect in how we handle them after the purchase. Charging, storing, safety.
Absolutely crucial. This is the part where knowledge and discipline directly translate into safety and getting the most life out of your expensive batteries. Ignoring this is where things can go wrong.
Let's start with the most frequent activity. Charging LiPo batteries. What are the must-knows?
Rule number 1, non-negotiable. Always use a proper charger, specifically designed for LiPo batteries. Never ever use a NiMH charger, or vice versa. Their charging methods are completely different and incompatible. Dangerous.
Okay, dedicated LiPo charger. Got it. What about charge rate? How fast can you charge them?
The standard safest rate is 1C. That means 1 times the battery's capacity. So for a 5,000 milliamp battery, that's 5 amps charge rate. 5,000 milliamp amps, a 5,000 milliamp, 5.1 by 1 is 5 amps. For a 3,000 milliamp, it's 3 amps.
And a 1C charge takes about?
Roughly an hour. It's a good balance of speed and gentleness on the battery chemistry.
But some batteries say you can charge them faster, like 3C or 5C.
Correct. Some modern LiPos are rated by the manufacturer for higher charge rates. A 5,000 milliamp pack rated for 3C can be safely charged at 15 amps. 5.0 by 3C up to 15 amps.
Cutting charge time down significantly.
Yeah, down to maybe 20-25 minutes. Super convenient if you're at an event.
Yeah.
But there's a slight trade-off. Consistently charging at very high C rates, even if the battery is rated for it, can slightly reduce the overall lifespan, the total number of cycles you get. Often minor, maybe hundreds of cycles still, but it's a factor. Think of it like filling a bucket. A gentle stream, 1C, is less stressful than a fire hose, 5C, even if the bucket is designed for the hose. Trying to use the fire hose on a non-rated battery, though, that's asking for trouble fire risk.
Okay, stick to 1C unless the battery specifically says higher is okay, and even then it might slightly shorten its life. What about safety during charging?
2 absolute golden rules. First, always use a LiPo safety bag or a metal container, like an ammo can, when charging. These are designed to contain a fire if the worst happens. Crucial fire prevention.
Right. Containment. What's the second rule?
Never, ever charge a LiPo battery unattended. I cannot stress this enough. Stay present, stay vigilant. Accidents, though rare, can happen a faulty cell, a charger malfunction. If a battery catches fire and you're not there.
It could be catastrophic. Burn the house down, catastrophic.
Exactly. It's just not worth the risk. Stay with it while it charges.
Okay, charge attended in a safe container. What about parallel charging? Charging multiple packs at once off one charger port.
Generally advised against, especially for beginners. Parallel charging setups typically monitor the total voltage across all packs, not the individual cell voltages within each pack.
Why is that bad?
If the packs aren't perfectly matched in voltage and internal resistance, or if one cell is weaker, you can easily overcharge some cells while undercharging others. It creates dangerous imbalances. Very risky.
So safer to charge one at a time or use a charger with multiple independent ports?
Much safer. Dual or quad chargers designed to charge each pack independently are the way to go if you need to charge multiple batteries.
Got it. Okay, charging covered. What about LiPo storage? Can't just leave them fully charged, right?
Absolutely not. Never leave a LiPo fully charged for extended periods, meaning more than a few days, really. Weeks or months is definitely bad. It stresses the chemistry, causes permanent capacity loss, and shortens its life significantly.
So what do you do for storage?
Use the storage mode on your charger. Almost all modern LiPo chargers have this function. It will automatically charge or discharge each cell to around 3.8 volts per cell.
3.8 volts. Not full, not empty.
Exactly. It's the stable resting voltage.
Yeah.
So a 2S pack would be at 7.6 Z total for storage, a 3S at 11.4 V. Batteries can sit happily at this voltage for months, even a year, without significant harm.
And store them where? Still need precautions.
Yes. Even at storage voltage, store them safely. In that LiPo bag or metal tin, in a cool, dry place, away from flammable materials, just in case.
Makes sense. What about lifespan generally? We said 100, 300 cycles.
That's the typical range before a noticeable performance drop. Interestingly, how you use them matters. Constant high drain use might shorten life, but sometimes using them in applications like crawling where they aren't always pushed to their max discharge rate can sometimes lead to longer than expected lifespans, assuming they don't overheat. Heat is always a killer.
Right. And the big physical risk, punctures and impact.
The Achilles heel. Their chemistry is sensitive. If a LiPo pack gets punctured by a sharp rock, a tool slipping, crash debris, or severely dented or crushed in an impact.
Very high chance of fire.
Very high. That internal short triggers thermal runaway, puffing, venting hot gas, then intense fire. That's why securing the battery well in the vehicle is critical. And any pack that takes significant physical damage needs careful inspection. And if there's any doubt about its integrity, puffing, denting, it needs to be safely discharged and disposed of properly. Don't risk using a damaged LiPo.
Okay, that's a lot of important care information. It sounds like a bit of a ritual, but one that's essential for safety and getting your money's worth out of the batteries.
It becomes second nature pretty quickly. Respect the tech, follow the procedures, and you'll have safe, reliable power for a long time.
All right, before we wrap this deep dive, let's tackle a few lingering questions and common myths that often confuse people, and then we can boil down the absolute key takeaways.
Sounds good. Let's clear up some common misconceptions.
First one, brand choice. Is there really a single best brand of LiPo out there?
Simple answer, no. Honestly, if you search online long enough, you'll find someone who's had a bad experience puffing, exploding, dying early with literally every brand. It's just the nature of mass production and the variables involved.
So don't chase the mythical best brand.
Exactly. Instead, focus on brands that have a generally good reputation, that you or people you trust in the hobby have had good, consistent experiences with. Brands like Gen's Ace or Power Hobby often get mentioned as reliable performers in the sources we look at. Find something reputable with good local support or reviews and stick with it if it works for you.
Okay, solid advice. Next debate, hard shell versus soft shell batteries. Is hard shell always better for protection?
That's the common myth, yeah, that a hard case magically saves the battery in any crash.
But the reality is...
The reality is, if you hit something hard enough to truly threaten the cells inside a hard case, well, as one source put it, there really isn't going to be an awful lot of your car left to worry about.
Yeah, the battery might be the least of your worries then.
Pretty much. The real primary benefit of a hard shell comes into play if the battery somehow gets ejected from the vehicle in a crash.
If the straps break or something.
Right. If it flies out and skids down the road at high speed, that hard shell offers significant extra safety against being ground open and potentially bursting into flames from abrasion. A soft pack would shred much easier in that specific scenario.
So hard shell is mainly for ejection protection.
Primarily. For slower stuff like crawling, soft packs are usually fine, less ejection risk. For high-speed bashing where ejections are more plausible, a hard case adds a layer of safety. It's often personal preference based on your driving style and risk tolerance.
Got it. Now, the big performance myths we touched on earlier. Let's revisit. Myth: bigger capacity, higher C rating damages components. True or false?
Mostly false. As we discussed, assuming the voltage is correct, a larger capacity MA battery just gives you more runtime. It doesn't force extra power. And a higher C rating battery actually helps performance and can protect your ESC by ensuring it gets enough current easily, reducing strain and heat.
So don't be afraid of bigger mAh or higher C as long as voltage is right and it fits.
Exactly. In fact, often embrace it.
Okay, but the flip side, truth. Smaller capacity, lower C rating can cause damage.
This one is true, especially with powerful systems. If the battery can't supply the current the ESC and motor demand, either due to low mAh or low C rating, it starves the ESC, forces it to work too hard, overheat, and potentially fail. Vehicle manuals often warn about this, giving minimum specs for a reason.
Right, the Arma success example.
Precisely. And it's worth remembering how far LiPo tech has come. The market has gone nothing short of amazing in the last 10-15 years. Old LiPos might only last 30 cycles. Modern ones are vastly better, more power, better form factors, more reliable.
So the takeaway for you, the listener: don't stress about a bigger or higher rated battery MAHC damaging things. Focus intensely on matching the voltage correctly. Then, understand that more capacity and higher C rating are generally good things, more fun, potentially better for your electronics health.
Couldn't say it better myself.
Mm.
It really shifts the perspective from fear to understanding the benefits. And, this constant improvement makes you wonder.
What's next?
Yeah. Given the pace of change, what unexpected innovations might we see in RC batteries in the next, say, 5 or 10 years? Could we see something that changes the game entirely? Maybe eliminates complex charging or offers totally new energy sources. Lighter, denser, inherently safer.
That is a fascinating thought. Okay, so let's recap this deep dive. We've journeyed through the world of RC LiPo batteries, hopefully turning that confusing wall of specs into clear understanding.
We differentiated NiMH and LiPo, walked through those 6 essential steps for choosing the right pack.
Demystified voltage, capacity, and C rating, explaining what they really mean for performance and component health.
And connected those metrics to specific RC activities, from crawling to trail running to racing.
Plus, we covered the absolutely critical care and safety guidelines, charging, storage, handling, and busted some common myths along the way.
Our goal was really to give you that shortcut, to equip you with practical, surprising, and actionable knowledge distilled from a whole lot of information out there.
Remember, choosing the right battery isn't just about chasing speed records. It's about optimizing performance for how you drive, ensuring your RC gear lasts, and most importantly, maximizing your fun safely.
Absolutely. So as you head out for your next RC session, or maybe plan that next upgrade armed with all this info, think about that future question. Beyond just more capacity and higher C ratings, what could be the next big leap in RC power? What might surprise us all?
That's definitely a deep dive for another day. But for now, we truly hope this has empowered you, giving you the confidence and the knowledge you need to power up your RC world effectively and safely.